All right, so down at the lower right part of Antigua Shipyards, as we hear that wonderful sound of pop being poured, it always makes me want to like.
It really is kind of a delicious sound.
It's tough. Anyway, here's our third player from FXO. Won the last game, held off some G's. He is
FXO Leenock.
Formerly Leenock FOU, still a member of the FOU clan. The clan still exists, but obviously these guys are a member of the team FXO now. And this guy, member of the team Prime, up at the top right part of Antigua Shipyards.
MaKa Prime Week.
There he is.
Yeah.
Typing away.
So I'm really curious to see what MaKa's going to do. A lot of times on this map in these positions, what we've seen a lot of Terrans do versus Zerg is take the middle. You know, if you can take and hold the middle, take the gold, you can really control where your opponent expands to. So yeah, I mean, the middle is so vitally important in this map.
Yep. We've got pretty normal openings for both players. MaKa's just going to go ahead and put a single barracks at his choke. Going to wall off his ramp there with another depot. It doesn't look like he's going to be doing any shenanigans this time.
You know what? There's no Scantipedes on this map.
What?
Oh, look at that, looking for the Overlord, and he will spot it. Nice little job by MaKa Prime
No Scantipedes. I don't know if I like this map anymore.
Well, you know, Scantipedes can't live everywhere. We are in space, of course, right now.
Well, Scantipedes live in space, don't they?
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they can breathe because there's no. I don't think there's any oxygen.
That's true. They are just biological units. They don't have a suit of armor like a Marine to breathe in.
Or an SCV.
Drones scouting around, checking for extra barracks within the confines. But silly Leenock, this is MaKa Prime. His extra barracks wouldn't be in his base. What are you thinking?
That's right. You have to check the natural for extra MaKa Prime barracks. Leenock turning his drone into an extractor for the moment just to try to keep it alive a little bit longer. Will he see the command center, though?
Yeah, he'd have to cancel it and run it over there. I think the Marines would kill the drone before it got close enough to scout it.
Yep. Oh, nice.
He's just going to deny the gas for a while. Oh, whoa.
And
he got the refinery down in between the switch.
Very nice. That is a dead drone. That's what they look like right there. Cut off some pieces. Cook it.
Yeah.
Have some drone on the Korean barbecue. We've had Korean barbecue so much lately, you know.
I have not had it enough. I've actually only had it like once and a half times since they got here. Although it's only been a few days.
I don't know. If you guys ever come to Korea, definitely have some Korean barbecue.
I actually went to Korean barbecue in California before I left. Cool. Took some people there to show them what I was going to be eating every day. And here, it's like $6 or $7 for Korean barbecue if you go to a cheap place.
It's not bad.
It was like $25 or something like that for Korean barbecue in these States.
Yep. So
it's pretty good though.
Oh, it's always good anywhere. I've got a feeling that we are going to see some Blue Flame Hellions coming out of MaKa pretty soon here. Got 2 gas right away. He's getting his factory now. And this is a little bit more common of what we've been seeing Terrans do versus Zergs lately. The last couple weeks here. Really fast Blue Flame Hellions. Wonder if he's going to go Slayer style and get that starport and do the Marine drop with the Hellions on the low ground. I think it's good.
Yeah, it is good. It doesn't look quite the same as that. He's got a bunker. Yep. Interestingly.
Trying to stay a little bit safe. I'm actually a little bit surprised about that bunker.
Yeah, me too.
Wouldn't really stop a Baneling bust.
Yeah, I guess he's just worried about some early aggression. Maybe he figures Leenock's going to be like, you cheese me, I cheese you!
Well, you know, I mean, early roaches would be a bit of a concern if you're going, you know, Marine Hellion. And is that the starport going down?
That's
actually another command center.
Another command center.
Third command center for
3
MaKa.
CCs off one base. Kind of a bomber style going on here.
Yeah. OGS Top, another Terran player that we see do that quite a bit. And so the bunker's got to kind of let Leenock know that something's going on. And sure enough, he's producing a Roach Warren. Really fast siege mode for MaKa. Okay, so not going for Blue Flame, instead just going for really fast siege mode. This is another kind of thing you can do. That SCV is lazy. Uh-oh. You got rallied to the other SCV. Sometimes when you're building a building, you know, and you set your rally point after the building finishes the minerals, you accidentally click on an SCV.
Oh.
Hate it when that happens. We caught you, MaKa. You made a mistake.
Everyone makes mistakes.
I know.
Yeah, so he's going to have a 3rd orbital, and he's now putting a reactor on his barracks.
Yeah,
in siege mode. So what he's going to be able to do here is just kind of move out, set up some siege tanks, and easily take a second base with siege mode and have a just incredibly booming economy with 3 orbitals.
Yeah, basically it's just going to be a lot of macro. Leenock producing a lot of Lings and a Roach or 2 right now. 1 Roach at the moment. I like MaKa's style though. He's going to be very, very safe, which I think is quite cool. He's already going to have siege mode and a couple tanks. That's a lot of Roaches though, Moltrap. That's a lot of Lings too.
That is actually it is a lot of Roaches, and if his siege tanks are not placed properly, he's going to die to this, although he does have one up on the high ground, the other one kind of far back, so he's actually in pretty good shape. Otherwise, the Roaches could just, if they were in a spot where the Roaches could just walk up and snipe them.
Well, Leenock took a hit from the siege tank and actually just turned around when those Roaches got nailed there.
Smart move.
Yeah, I think he's pretty surprised to see siege tanks that early. In fact, I would bet you lots of Juan Moltrap that he was expecting Blue Flame Hellions, just because it's so common right now. See, he's sending the Overlord in. He's like, all right, I got to find out exactly what's going on here.
Yeah, if he'd gone for like Blue Flame Hellions instead, then Leenock would have just turned that away and owned him.
And he sees all 3 command centers, so now he knows exactly what's going on. And it looks like MaKa may decide to just go, is that another command center? A 4th command center going down for MaKa right now?
I think he was just, yes.
Yes, he's actually just going to try to mine out his bases as fast as he can with mules.
Wow.
Just do a huge push. Oh, I like this by Leenock taking the gold. That's so smart. He's going to try to get an economic edge himself.
Yeah.
Man, this is a
It's like, you want to play the econ game? Let's play the econ game, baby.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that, you know, MaKa essentially is just going to stay on 2 bases and power really hard. He's got 4 command centers. He's going to mine that out so fast. But because of this, he's going to be able to get such a huge army so quickly that it's going to be really hard for Leenock to deal with. So in response, Leenock is taking the gold to try to keep up. This is such a cool ZVT, Moltrap.
Yeah, and Leenock is really committed to these Roaches, actually. He's getting +1 missile attacks. So he's really going to invest in these Roaches, play with heavy Roach-based play, and he's getting the Spire as well, and speed upgrade for the Overlords. But so he's going to play with Spire, probably do some harassment with Mutalisks, I would imagine.
Yep, you can do quite a bit with this.
But also Roaches, so kind of interesting there.
First Viking is out. I do hear it killing an Overlord somewhere. Somewhere an Overlord is dying, Moltrap. All right, so this is awesome. I mean, instead of Leenock just kind of freaking out and being like, oh my gosh, I need to produce nothing but units right now and no drones, he's like, no, I need to take the gold, get my economy even bigger.
Yeah.
Definitely the right decision for Leenock. This is going to be really interesting, though, when these armies clash. Supply-wise right now, Leenock is actually a little bit ahead of, actually I said that, you know, but then MaKa jumped right up to be a little bit ahead of Leenock, so basically both these plays about even.
Yeah, I mean, MaKa has been behind on the supply count for most of this game because he's just been making orbitals. And now he's got the factories up. He's starting to produce units. He's going to really just explode with his supply. He's got Thors out, 4 orbitals dropping tons of mules.
Yeah, this is just going to be a huge, really powerful 2-base mech push. He's actually looking like he's going to take a 3rd right now instead. Very interesting. Okay.
9 Mutalisks are about to come out.
All right.
And he's actually getting the Hellions as well. He's getting the Blue Flame upgrade for those. And
just always has an extra command center.
MaKa making a 5th command center.
Is he really?
In
Wow.
his natural, as he takes a 3rd at the top, or attempts to take a 3rd.
This is so insane right now.
This is actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's a really strong thing to do if you're gonna defend, and he's actually hold on a little bit of attack here. Leenock throwing away some Zerglings.
Well, he's just kind of testing the front, seeing what his opponent has. Now he knows exactly what MaKa has. Very, very useful. Leenock is about 30 supply ahead right now. Very, very tough to out macro a Zerg that's, you know, really trying to macro hard.
Yeah, and Leenock actually has a 4th base as well. So even with those orbitals in play,
well, that's the
Leenock
thing.
is at the moment about even in. Actually, he's ahead in income, although he hasn't started mining at that 3rd base of MaKa's yet.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is I don't know really how well this is going to end up working for MaKa. He's going to have the upgrades. You know, he's going to have a decent army, a very good army. But Leenock, I mean, it's really tough to just straight up out macro a Zerg in StarCraft 2. I don't know, you just can't do it. It's really hard.
Not if you let them get their economy going.
Right, that's the thing right now is MaKa's not doing any sort of harassment. Leenock can drone up all he wants.
And Leenock has 98% drones.
Yeah,
right
now he's just going to stop
It
basically.
is
and produce
disgusting. But
units.
here, now that MaKa's mining at that third base with 5 orbitals, both of these guys are mining over 2,500 minerals a minute.
Wow, that is
This
huge.
is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's just going to come down to it's huge macro game.
Yeah.
Just who can produce more faster off of these giant economies.
Well, this is one of those games I feel like we're just going to see one big fight, and that's going to be it. Looks like MaKa Prime is ready to move out. He knows he needs to make something happen. I think he might have waited too long. Does
Yeah.
MaKa have what it takes to take out this gold base? A lot of Banelings coming in right now for Leenock.
He does have Banelings morphing
Yeah.
and some roaches as well, but there's a lot of tanks there. The tanks are unsieged, but Leenock does not take the advantage of that moment. Didn't realize the opportunity was there. He's actually going to go around and try for a counterattack. His mutas are breaking down the rocks.
Yep. he's
So
gonna
the
go
Lings
into
and
that
Roaches
third.
can come into the third.
And is Leenock just going to sack the gold? I don't know. Looks like Leenock's moving into the third base of MaKa. Here he goes. Only a couple Marines there, some decent Banelings. Command center lifting off.
Baneling.
Oh, all the SCVs taken out by the
Nice.
Banelings. Very smart, though, not losing too many of those Blue Flame Hellions at the gold base for Leenock. Here he comes. He's going to be careful. Moving into the bio and the mech of MaKa Prime. There's so many tanks, though. And the upgrades are really good for MaKa. Does Leenock have what it takes?
Oh my god, Infester's in play as well, not playing a huge role, but able to do some damage. And just so many units coming out for Leenock with the tanks doing so much damage in tiers. And we end up with a Thor and 4 tanks and a few other units left over in that battle.
Here's the thing, though. 31 roaches in production for Leenock.
Oh my god,
And, he's
that
getting
is
Parasite.
that is the power of Zerg. They trade armies, and suddenly Leenock has a new army, and MaKa cannot make his fast enough.
Yep, that's right. It was a nice idea by MaKa, but I've got a feeling we're going to see Leenock take out MaKa Prime 2-0 here in the GSL Code A. Last couple Thors getting focused down. MaKa down to 100 supply. Leenock up at 160-some.
Yeah, MaKa, by the way, he lost so many SCVs. He's down to just 45 harvesters off his 3 bases. Even with the mules from 5 orbitals, he's still way behind. Well, not way behind, but he's behind Leenock in the income category. But even worse now that these roaches come in, forced to lift, going to kill even more SCVs.
Yep, taking out those rocks is a big deal. Leenock just playing this beautifully.
And
So impressed.
MaKa is under 100 supply. Leenock is almost remaxed.
Oh, yeah.
This is the point where, as a Zerg player, you're like, oh, you feel so good. You're like, yes, I've got my econ going. I can just constantly make tons of units. Feels so good to just do that, and that's exactly what Leenock's doing. I mean, you have to concentrate on the tactics of the battles as well. But at this point, Leenock is just sitting so pretty.
Oh, MaKa even losing both of those Vikings without really doing a whole lot.
Try to take out some drones, but
I am really glad to see MaKa Prime doing what he's doing, though. I feel like there's been a real big lack of innovation in TVZ lately. So I have tons of respect for MaKa for what he's trying here. And it actually is really cool, but you know, Leenock just knew what to do about it right away.
Exactly. Leenock was smart enough to realize, oh, okay, you're going for this super econ. Well, if you leave me alone, there's no way you can out econ me.
Well, you know, above all that, too, MaKa really hasn't been doing any sort of harassment at all. He's
True.
done, you know, besides landing those Vikings at the gold, he's done 0 harassment. All right, here comes some Hellions now. They're going to get some kills.
Speaking of harassment.
There you go. There you go, MaKa.
Oh, Leenock's down to only 84 drones now.
Yep, nice round there by the drones. And Leenock loses quite a few, but still pretty far ahead. In the
You know what? In a way, that's actually even good for Leenock. At this point, he's got 3,500 minerals in the bank, almost 1,000 gas. Killing some drones off just frees up supply for infestors.
It doesn't really hurt him too much. You know, MaKa Prime is going to have time to build up another pretty big army, but Leenock is already going to Hive Tech. He's adding on another base. Leenock on 6 bases right now once this one on the left side of the map finishes.
And Leenock actually just loaded up a huge drop with infestors and roaches and a lot of overlords. He's going for MaKa's main.
Yep,
a little bit of distraction to the side here, but the main base is going to be under attack here.
Here we
and
go.
He's actually going to lose an overlord full of roaches, but now he starts dropping them out. Infestors are in play.
Yeah, if he can kill the production buildings, that'll be so huge. And he's going after the units instead, killing off a couple of
Is he going to knurl? Is he going to knurl the Thor? He does knurl the Thor.
Mainling time.
Dropping some Banes in the expansion, but meanwhile back in the main base, reaping havoc, knurling all the Thors, making them attack each other. Just doing insane amounts of damage. And actually, wow, that Thor got so low, it was down to like 40 hit points, so he's going to be able to repair it up. So not as much damage as could have been done.
Well, you know what?
By that drop, actually.
I mentioned earlier that Terrans like to take the middle so that they can hold the gold. Well, that's exactly what Leenock did in this game. He took the middle of the map, held it, got to use the gold for himself, and now he can basically take the entire bottom of the map.
I would just like to draw people's attention to the top right of their screen, where you can see that Leenock has 5,000 minerals and 3,000 gas saved up.
Yeah, his economy.
And MaKa has 100 minerals. Just gonna leave that right there for you. Leenock getting his greater spire right now. He's probably actually not remaxed only because he's saving room for
I love this.
Broodlords.
Leenock going after a little bit of the army of MaKa Prime at the same time. Huge Zergling drop in the main of MaKa Prime.
Complete.
Yeah, that is a ton of Zerglings actually.
Yeah.
And he could just afford to throw away Zerglings at this point. He might as well.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to just see what damage he can do.
Yep, and these Zerglings are going to be a little bit tougher to take out, I think, even than the Roaches. MaKa moving into the big army. Leenock's gold might be in a bit of trouble, actually.
Oh my goodness, Doa.
It's almost
there are 19 Corruptors in production right now.
Yeah, I think that's theirs.
And that's going to be 19 Broodlords before too long. Yep. And that's going to spell the end for MaKa, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so Leenock probably going to lose his gold right now. He's making that switch to Broodlords at the moment. So because of that, he's going to be a little bit less on army at the moment too. He's also getting +3 flyer attacks and +3 missile attacks.
Yeah. His Roaches are already 2-2.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of Broodlords.
They're actually 2-1, I'm sorry.
Leenock maxed out right now. He wants to make more Broodlords, but he can't Mole Trap because he's not got any more supply.
Yep. Well, it's a good thing to have. He's making 9 Broodlords, and it's a really good idea to keep the Corruptors, keep half the Corruptors as Corruptors anyway, because then if they come in with Vikings, they can't just, kill all your Broodlords with one Viking.
Yeah. Now, MaKa could conceivably still win this. I mean, he is putting down another starport. He's going to be producing a ton of Vikings right now.
Yeah, he has taken a 4th.
Yep, Leenock does have some Corruptors, but is it enough? I mean, MaKa's still pretty far behind. He's about 50 supply down right now. But he is taking the gold, so MaKa's definitely not out of it quite yet.
MaKa's starting to get more income, but here come the Broodlords, raining down Broodlings upon this extra base, the gold base. Siege tanks forced to unsiege for fear of shelling their own units. The Broodlords moving even closer, some Roaches underneath as well. This is going to be really tough for MaKa to hold off.
Yeah, Corruptors zoning out the Vikings behind the Broodlords. Leenock having a good balance of Broodlords and Corruptors. And yeah, this is going to get absolutely crushed by Leenock.
Neural parasites the Thors to make them kill the siege tanks.
Yep.
So they can't do anything to the Roaches. The Planetary Fortress just goes down so quickly to the concentrated fire there.
Yeah.
Leenock is on the verge of advancing to the up and down matches.
And, not even enough Vikings to take out the Corruptors. Yeah, Leenock just crushing MaKa Prime.
GG, well played.
And, yeah, well played indeed by both of these guys.
Indeed.
MaKa's a good manner, guys. So Leenock advancing to the round of 8. I don't know, Moltrap. He's my pick for winning Code A this season.
Really?
He is, man.
Even over Marine King.
Absolutely over Marine King.
Because Leenock plays the winner of Yoda vs. Marine King.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vs. Marine King.
Right. And MaKa Prime showing us some really interesting builds in TVZ. Really interesting all in the first game. And then going for a huge macro style the second game. And, I got to say, it's really exciting to see. I mean, there's just not a lot of innovation right now in TVZ. And MaKa really showed that. I mean, his composition in the late game, was more normal TVZ, trying to get the Vikings to handle the Broodlords. And that, works okay. But then if the Zerg produces enough Corruptors, then, you're still in trouble. But, overall, I like how MaKa played. He's still in Code A. He'll be back next season. Yeah, well played by both those guys. Really entertaining series. Very cool.
wonder if that strategy that MaKa used, just the mass orbitals, would have worked better maybe on a different map where Leenock couldn't spread out away from him quite as much. Well, for instance, I remember seeing Bomber do that on like Zeldonga Caverns, which is a little smaller, more compact. If you take your gold after that, you're really close to the enemy. So
that's actually one of the nice things about Antigua Shipyard is that the maps are all, relatively close together. You can just, go for that mass command center build. And the chokes are so narrow, too, for each corner of the map. that it's really easy to defend that, with a smaller amount of siege tanks, because obviously you're going to have less units as you're making all these command centers and SCVs and things like that. But really cool play by both players. Leenock, I mean, he's just known for his decision-making.
Yeah.
Really good decision-making. Instead of just making units to try to defend, just making tons of hatcheries.
I think because of that, I think MaKa might have done a little bit better if he had done some harassment in the midst of that. Because he could have caught Leenock without really many units also if he'd done some drops or Blue Flame Hellion harassment or something like that. Leenock was like, all right, well, I'm going to build a ton of hatcheries and drones. So he didn't really have, I mean, he had some roaches, but it would have been hard for him to defend all those locations because he was kind of spread out.
That's kind of the thing, is that if you're going to go for that style, you need to do something to your opponent. You need to harass them in some way. But MaKa Prime, sometimes when you're doing a new build like that, you're thinking only about the build. You're not thinking about harassing, and I mean, that can come back to haunt you.
And I mean, I'm trying to talk about how MaKa could have done it differently, but also Leenock just responded perfectly to everything that MaKa did, and put pressure on himself that MaKa had a hard time dealing with. So anyway, Leenock's going to advance. We're going to have a quick break, 5 minutes. Don't go anywhere, or don't go anywhere for more than 5 minutes. We're going to be back with more TVZ action here at the GSL.